Well then, the transfer window may well be over, but it hasn't stopped Newcastle bringing in a new CEO. That's right, David Hopkinson, the man who's been rumoured to have been joining Newcastle for quite some time, ex-Real Madrid, and various projects across America, including ice hockey, Madison Square Garden, and a host of other stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about him and what, hopefully, the David Hopkinson era will bring to Newcastle going forward. Yes, guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. It is another early start. I tell you what, it's been a busy old week for me. Work, life, and obviously talking about Newcastle with you guys has been a nice, bright spark every morning coming on here and talking to you. And I'm not done yet. I'm busy this weekend. I'm doing the Great North Run on Sunday. I have mentioned it a few times now. I'm running on behalf of the Royal National Institute of the Blind. My Just Giving page is in the description if you'd like to donate. I started off hoping to raise any money, to be honest. And you guys have actually blown me away with your support. My target is now set at £2,000. And we are getting pretty close to it, which is kind of mind-blowing. I just signed up for a bit of fun, raise a bit of money, and now I'm 2 days away, about to run a half marathon for the first time ever, and about to raise, close to £2,000 for a charity. So yeah, it's pretty damn cool. So if you want to help the charity, link is in the description. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. I'm hoping to have some pretty photos at the weekend of me crossing the finishing line, hopefully smiling. Hopefully nice-ish weather. Don't want it to be too hot. Don't want it to be too wet. But looking forward to it. And if you do see me on Sunday, give us a shout. If you're there with your missus, your mister, or whatever, shout Rubenstein as well. So I know that it's you. Because I'm going to have Rob written on the front of my top anyway. So shout us a Rubenstein, and I will be sure to give you a wave. But yes, let's get into Newcastle United, new CEO. As I mentioned, I would go as far to say, it's the Eddie Howe era for me. It's the Eddie Howe era. But having a new CEO in is certainly a new chapter. It's a turn of the page. The transfer window's ended. Alexander, I shouldn't even say his name, has left. Two new strikers, centre-back, centre-mid. Tough start to the season as well. Let's kick on now. Let's look down the line. I'm going to talk about it in this video, but stadium, training grounds. I feel like, generally speaking, throughout this window, it has been super focused on obviously transfers, but more particularly Alexander Isak. Like, it has been the headline every single day for 3 months. And even now, the headlines of Isak are still there. It's because it's the international break, It's because it's the international break. We're waiting for the football. Everyone's dying to just move on and get into it, but because we're waiting for next weekend, it's waiting on that. But as I've mentioned, Newcastle haven't stopped. And let's be honest, we'll take a quick moment to shout out Darren Eales as well. Obviously, ex-CEO, was a big part of it. Obviously, things haven't ran easy for him. And we're going to talk about that in this video as well. Directors of footballs, Dan Ashworth, Paul Mitchell. He has been a constant. Even through the Amanda Staveley and murder, them leaving as well. Like, undoubtedly, there has been some ups and downs throughout that time of staff coming in, staff leaving. He's been here throughout. Obviously, he's leaving due to ill health, so very much wish him the best of luck. Continued the role, for a year. And that's again, another criticism of the ownership, PIF, whoever, the Rubens. Darren Eales has been... I believe it's blood cancer. Don't quote me on that one. It hasn't been a well man for a year. And we haven't changed it. He's had directors of football come in, directors of football leave. It's like, let's give this man a chance. So I'm hoping now, David Hopkinson coming in, I suppose because he has had people leave, there's no Amanda Staveley to lean on. There will be Darren Eales, I believe, is coming in today. It's all happening today. Welcome, David Hopkinson. If you're somehow watching this video, I'm sure you've got bigger fish to fry than watching me drinking a cup of tea on a Friday morning. But if you're scrolling YouTube late at night and you spot it, welcome to the football club. But yes, we've struggled to have a constant. Hopefully, David Hopkinson can be that man to be that constant for Newcastle throughout this next chapter. I have to say, looking at his resume and what this guy's been up to, I think we've done pretty well to bring him in. Like, bearing in mind that Newcastle have made some fantastic appointments over the last 4 to 5 years, it's fair to say that Dan Ashworth leaving, Mitchell leaving, like, there has been it has been tough to kind of hold on and push to the next level, I guess. This guy, as I've mentioned already, has worked not just for the biggest football club in the world at Real Madrid. I mean, clearly that is the one that everyone jumps to. That's the one everyone looks at. That's what people are generally excited about. Obviously, the biggest football club in the world. It's a different type of challenge for him now. Coming to Newcastle, let's try and see him take some of what he learnt there and bring it to us. But also his time over in America as well, with a number of different roles at different sporting clubs as well. So it's not just Newcastle. You can take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and bring it all in. Clearly, Newcastle are a club with a project. I think the project brings interest, and the hope is it's for him. I guess it's his challenge. How I think it will probably take him quite some time to get from Newcastle to Real Madrid levels, but I guess that's the aim, is it not? That is why he's been brought in. That is the idea, and obviously to do that, you hope that he's going to make some changes along the way. Interestingly enough, I think the first thing we're probably going to hear about is director of football. Despite the failed attempts, and that's I think it's held us back. You know, undoubtedly this summer window, you look at the spending of Liverpool, the spending of Chelsea, and obviously the answer is PIF. Sorry, it's not. It is, well, I guess it is the PIF. It's PSR, different acronym. It's PSR, it's FFP, it's held back from the rules, unable to spend. That is the killer. That is the killer. But there are ways that Newcastle can at least put actions in place to help us with that. You know, what can we do that will allow us to spend? What can we do to generate more money? And I just think over the years, Amanda and Murdad came in, spent a lot of money very quickly to save a team that was getting relegated. And that has hampered us throughout the last few years. Then you look at Dan Ashworth coming in, you know, I think probably struggled with those PSR issues, wasn't really able to do what he wanted to do. Then you've got the Paul Mitchell stuff, unhappy with Eddie Howe, fighting. Like, at the moment, there was no CEO, there was no director of football, and we're kind of, as I mentioned, turning the page into, I would say, hopefully a new chapter. I don't want it to be a page. I want it to be a new chapter that will be 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to chapters long. I don't want this to be another, oh, hang on a second, we need to look for a new CEO. I think the next director of football appointment needs to be right, and the hope that they can build together and take us to the next step. I've not written his name down, but it's the bloke who was at Nottingham Forest who's been linked with the director of football job. I think he'd worked previously with Eddie Howe at a different football club, so hopefully that knits up quite nicely and works. But as I've mentioned, fair enough, PSR is in our way, but let's go and try and do something that can, you know, help us go forward monetary-wise, and that is stadium, training grounds, commercial sponsors, training ground sponsors, training top sponsors, all of these things that we've been asking for really since the start. I think because of the issues with the backroom staff, who's doing what. I mean, you could argue Peter Silverstone, in fairness, is meant to be the commercial director. Aside from bringing in Saudi Air on day one, I guess we've just got Guinness as a new sponsor. But undoubtedly, I think there's work to do there, and hopefully David Hopkinson is the man to take that, not next step, I would say leap. That leap forward is where we're trying to get to next. So that's the thing. I think I have, and maybe Newcastle fans have, is been like, oh, it was PSR's fault. You know, I'm kind of sick of, like, yeah, we're always going to be sick of it. That's the way of it. Until the rules are changed, until something changes, until something's done about it, PSR will constantly be a battle for us. But I think what's frustrating is there are things we could have done to at least help with that. You know, if we'd got a stadium sponsor, you know, I don't like it particularly, but let's say we did get a stadium sponsor, day two, that's 5 years of 30 million a year that we just haven't had. You know, training ground, like this, like, it's fair enough. You haven't, maybe it wouldn't be that high because you have to prove it to the Premier League that the sponsor's worth that much and all that nonsense. Let's say it was 5 million. That still would have been 25 million over the last 5 years that we just haven't seen. And that's with one thing. Now talk about training grounds. Now talk about this sponsor. Now about that sponsor. Like, we should be doing more for me. And now, so that's my hope now, is that David Hopkinson can bring in all this extra stuff with him. Like, talk about the new stadium, getting bloody Beyonce in, getting Sam Fender in, but with twice the capacity, you know. I think Newcastle would fill that out twice over again. So that's the thing. I am excited for it. Obviously, the truth will come out. The proof is in the pudding. You know, whatever you want to say. I think we can get there. I think we will get there. This guy's got a backroom of a whole host of experience, and I just think that throughout the summer, you know, prior to the summer, we were talking about stadiums, we were talking about training grounds. It's kind of gone a bit quiet, and I understand that because it was transfer window. It was Alexander Isak. Like, now, it's almost feels like it's the start of the season's already started, but it feels like this is the start of the new season, and having a new CEO to come in and hopefully get embedded fairly quickly. Newcastle clearly want a new director of football. It's been on about 4 or 5 posts of late, so hopefully that can happen soon, and we can start to see the dominoes start to fall on some of this other stuff that has been spoken about since it's... Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to be a Newcastle fan forever. So, like, we will get there. Like, we will get there. You can tell the club are trying. You can tell the appointments are coming in. You just kind of want to see that next progression. And especially after losing, like, you know, a very good footballer. Turned out, you know, that he was a snake and that no one likes him now. But ultimately, footballing sense, he was a very good footballer. And I think that was a tough thing to happen in the window. I want us to bounce back now. I want us to bounce back and see us hit those new levels. Like, announcement in the new year for a new stadium, boom, all of a sudden there's just like that. Let's just get that positivity back. Champions League in a week and a half's time, undoubtedly that will bring some positivity as well. So, thoughts and comments on David Hopkinson down in the comments below. Is there any plus or minuses that you like to see from him? Is there something that you want to see Newcastle move on and do next? You know, because that's kind of what I've spoken about, really. It wasn't really football. You know, Eddie Howe's brought his players in. Eddie Howe's ready to go for the summer. It's kind of off the pitch. That's gone super quiet. Communication. That's what I'm going to throw in there. Communication. I think it landed on Darren Eales, and obviously with ill health, it's slowed down. It's stopped. Having communication from the club has really been at I was going to say an all-time low. That's not correct, because it was far worse under Ashley. But I would since the takeover. You know, since the takeover, I think we've been as quiet as ever. Probably because we've got about 3 staff and they're all running around doing transfers. So hopefully now that can kick on as well. Right, guys, gotta go. Thank you for watching as always. If you want to help me, support me on the run on Sunday, and you would like to donate, click the link in the description, or support me if you're there. Give us a wave, give us a shout. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm a little bit, not nervous, but just don't know what to expect. First time doing it. I'm excited, but yeah, I can't wait to get going. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.